This may be the 25th anniversary season of the Pirelli World Challenge, which means a lot of history has gone before. But this weekend, it's all about something brand new.
Revs coming up, we're green!
Big move coming off the 3.
2, 3, 4 abreast in some spots.
Side-by-side action.
He absolutely nailed it.
Three-way battle.
And we've got an incident. You would expect nothing less.
Oh, clips the inside apex.
Very racy. This is going to get interesting.
That is a brave move. What a pass. This is what World Challenge is all about.
The Pirelli World Challenge may have waited until its 25th consecutive season to add a jewel to its crown, but it's doing that this weekend. Welcome to the Pirelli World Challenge at Barber Motorsports Park, presented by RECARO. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Kramer, and in just a minute I'll be heading up to the booth and joining my broadcast partner Calvin Fish, but first of all, we are finally at Barber Motorsports Park, an amazing facility, landscaped beautifully, but also a very challenging ribbon of tarmac that was originally designed as a motorcycle racing track. That means for the large fields and the big GT and GTS cars in particular of the Pirelli World Challenge, this is going to be challenging. Now this season, the news gets better and better. It was just announced that two monster names in motorsports in North America, Dyson Racing, and globally, Bentley Motor Cars, are coming together. They will be racing in the Pirelli World Challenge starting at Road America. This is awesome. And Cal, you gotta love hearing that.
Well, it's fantastic, Greg, to have one of the most iconic brands in motorsports history coming to the Pirelli World Challenge. Really makes a statement, and what a racetrack we have here. This is like the Augusta of motor racing.
Let's take a look at our schedule for the day. We're going to start with highlights from our 3 touring car divisions. Then we're going to move into our coverage of round 3 of the GT, GTA, and GTS. And then we'll wrap it up with coverage of round 4 for the GT divisions. We've talked about it. This is a new track. That's Andy Pilgrim. Nobody better to give us a look.
I'm Andy Pilgrim, and this is Cadillac Key Corners from Barber Motorsports Park. Turn 1, 4th gear, down from 6th gear. Through there, down to 3rd gear. Long right-hander here, long right-hander, turn 2 and turn 3. Exit, bit of a bump there on the exit. Real nice uphill here. Aim for the tower, you're blind coming over there. Turn 4, down the straightaway to turn 5. Heavy braking coming in turn 5. Downhill, get into the ABS, locking up brakes there. Tight, tight, tight corner, 3rd gear out of here. Use all the exit on the way out to make sure you get up to speed. Down this short straightaway, back straightaway here to turn 7. And turn 7 is really much faster than it looks. Right-hander, heavy brake, down to 4th gear, turn in hard, brake again, downshift again, use a bit of the curbing there, down to turn 8, museum corner, awesome museum right there. Too quick to stop there though today. We got to run. Turn 9, turn 10, really cool fast chicane here, awesome place, really good. Come up and over the hill there, the front air gets under the front of the car, you always get pushed there. Down to turn 11, downhill, over the top of the hill. Fast left-hander in 5th, down to 4th gear, up through turn 12, up and over the hill here. It's not a corner, but it should be. People lose it there. Through 13, little gas here if we can. Heavy braking, tight, 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 decreasing radius, 14A. 15, left-hander on the straightaway, drops away here. Very easy to get wipe out off the track. We're on the front straightaway, and that was your Cadillac Key Corners from Barber Motorsports Park.
And as always, a thanks to Andy Pilgrim. We talked about we're going to start off with a look at the highlights of the touring car divisions in TCB Mini. That one right there actually won the championship last year. They are back looking for more success, and the reason they have it, it's in their genes.
It's fantastic that Mini is involved with Pirelli World Challenge. We think it's a perfect series to demonstrate the performance of our cars from a handling as well as an acceleration point of view. But probably one of the most important things for us is just to showcase the quality of our engines, which is really key within the B-Spec Racing Series. We're extremely excited here in 2014 to be racing. We've partnered with Tyler Palmer, a young and talented racer. We come off a championship win from 2013. There's been a lot of things that we've changed with the Mini from the car that won in the 60s, be it technology, safety. Obviously the car's grown up a little bit, but there are a lot of things that we've kept unique and the same with this car, such as a relatively long wheelbase, very short overhangs front and rear, and this gives the car really fantastic handling going through the corners and allowing our drivers and the racers out there to maintain speed through the corners, which is key within momentum racing, and that's really what B-Spec Racing is all about.
And Tyler Palmer gave that car a ride in the opening round of our touring car divisions. The highlights are coming up here. But interesting, Jason Saney in touring car put it on pole, but didn't start there.
He didn't. He had a technical infraction that was discovered in post-qualifying tech, so he goes to the back. Expect some fireworks from him today.
That move, that Compass 360 Honda onto the pole, Michael DeMio's first ever, but the white Honda Civic of John Miller, Mr. Excitement from last year, slashed into the early lead from the new touring car A division. That blue and white Honda of Shea Holbrook went into the lead, but that black and white Mazda from Jason Cherry and the Breathless Performance team was absolutely chasing her throughout.
They traded the lead a number of times during this event, and it was a great battle to watch.
It was fantastic. Even traffic played into it. Holbrook able to get Cherry trapped for just a minute, but he was able to dive through. And this battle up at the front, Miller had that lead count, but it didn't last for the entire race.
Watch DeMio here, right down to the inside, slices it through there. Miller gives him good racing room, good clean racing.
And all three divisions during the course of this race had some superb racing for the lead. These two guys were at it hammer and tongue, and Jason Saney came up and joined them. But maybe the best battle was this one, as Brian Price in that patriotic liveried Honda Fit around the outside of pole sitter Johann Schwartz, and it was this close contact racing all day.
This was awesome. Through the 7-8 turn combination there you see them going at it, duking it out. Didn't trade any paint, but it was close.
And then Tyler Palmer in last year's championship winning Mini comes up to play as well. Couldn't quite get by Schwartz there, but he was not done yet either.
He wasn't. He keeps digging deep. He wants more from this race, and he gets another spot on the podium.
And as the checkers flew, was DeMio with his first win over a recovering Jason Saney and Adam Poland in a great run for third after Miller had a mechanical problem. In the new TCA category, Shea Holbrook held on for the win. It was that close over the young Jason Cherry, and in that TCB battle, it was fierce, but Brian Price in his first start brings it home for the win. Tyler Palmer, as Cal said, was able to slot through into second, and Johann Schwartz finished in third. As we take a look now at the results, DeMio, Saney, Poland, touring car A.
Shea Holbrook, she gets her second career victory. Jason Cherry second. Great run for Jason Wolf there.
And in TCB, Price, Palmer, and pole sitter Schwartz, who actually picked up a little push during the race, made it interesting for him. Now let's take a look at the points after this opening round of the championship in touring car. Mirrors how they finished, DeMio, Saney, and Poland.
In TCA, it's Holbrook on top right now.
And in TCB, of course, it is now Brian Price leading that championship. So that's a look back at our coverage of round one of the touring cars. Up next, GT, GTA, GTS. Stay with us. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge is being brought to you by SUNOCO Race Fuels, fueling victories for 5 decades. By the Cadillac V-Series, the 556 horsepower CTS-V coupe, sedan, and wagon, the world's fastest family of cars. And by Pirelli. Power is nothing without control. This is the Pirelli World Challenge at Barber Motorsports Park, presented by RECARO, and that tells us that at any racetrack or in your high-performance car, there was one best seat in the house.
As RECARO, we're overly happy to be now with Pirelli World Challenge in the second year. We have a couple of launches with OEMs. We have a launch of a FIA approved racing shell, which has a fore-aft adjustment, so slider you call it. As RECARO, we're working with more or less all the OEMs at this very moment of time. And when you see the racing cars right here on this track, you can see a lot of RECARO shells being used, but you can also see a lot of cars driving around with RECARO seats. The Camaro just got launched a couple of months ago. We're now getting into the Z28, but especially we are an option as well on the Camaro SS and the Camaro ZL1. The new Mustang is going to be launched in the upcoming months, so we will be in the new Mustang as well as an option. We're very happy to be in that car. We have a long-lasting history, so we're proud as RECARO to be in that car. Whenever you want to test it, go to the dealer, ask for a RECARO optional seat and take a drive.
They have become a great partner of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships, and it's absolutely great to have them with us. Now it is time for us to head into our Motul race analysis, and it starts with a big field of cars, 44 cars, and perfect weather.
Perfect weather, 17 turns around this 2.38-mile road course. But look at this, there's no lap records because they haven't raced here before, but some of the drivers do have experience here, Greg.
but not in this World Challenge package, which means it is going to be a fascinating day of racing. And the interesting thing here, too, as we move into our Pirelli storylines, is this is a track after the opening 2 rounds that really should favor the GT3 cars.
Absolutely, Greg. These cars have a lot of aerodynamic aids on them. They've got a lot of downforce, and that's what this racetrack is all about. Put a lot of pressure on these caddies to even get a podium here today.
Now, in those GT3 cars, we have some hungry young guns. Are they going to come to the fore? Mancuso, Palmer, Thorne, some great talent there.
And in GTS, Ken Aschenbach and Baldwin rebound from those incidents at Long Beach.
Both on the track, and in terms of points lost, they need to accrue some points. Let's take a look at our Motul braking zone. This is an awesome corner, I think.
It really is. As you mentioned, Greg, this is not an easy place to pass on, but turn 5 is the prime opportunity. You flow up through 3 and 4, beautiful part of the racetrack, and this wide open entry here. It can be enticing to dive down the inside, but it's a downhill turn, easy to lock up a brake, and when cars swing across your bow, you can have some contact down there.
Turn 5, it is a challenge, one of many on this absolute roller coaster ride of a race course. There is a look, I think, at one of the most not only pretty but compelling grids in international sports car racing you can find anywhere. And it's time for a look at our Motul Pole Awards. In GT, Nick Mancuso, an A driver, getting a pole in his Ferrari of Lake Forest wounded wear Ferrari. That is a great story. And in GTS, another one is Jack Baldwin, the Reset MD. Motul STOPTECH Porsche rewards a very tired crew with the pole. With that, let's get to the front of the grid for those most famous words in racing.
From our friends at OPTIMA Batteries and Pirelli Tires, and from us, RECARO Automotive Seating, drivers, start your engines!
And this great field comes to life. All the GT equipment at the top, the GTS cars lining up behind. There is the Cadillac CTS-V pace car. A fantastic partner Cadillac is, and they provide an absolutely beautiful piece of machinery to lead these beautiful pieces of machinery around. The GT3 cars, the Cadillacs, and the GTS contingent roll off and start their installation lap here at Barber Motorsports Park. We are excited about this one.
It's going to be great. 2 red Ferraris on the front row. That makes a statement for Remo Ferri.
Boy, doesn't it. Down from Canada, it's a Canadian-based team. A couple of great drivers on board, a veteran and a young gun to be sure, but some great stories. This one I think is huge. The Cadillacs back a bit as we expected.
Well, we expected this. They thought about it coming in here, and you've got to look at those guys on the start. They have launch control on those caddies. They need to make that work and make some ground up on the initial start here today, Greg, I think.
And I want to just mention again that Porsche of Jack Baldwin. He said he went to the shop and had, as we watched the Cadillac Escalade safety car coming around, he went to the shop to pick up the crew chief because the crew chief hadn't slept in I don't know how many hours straight, so he could sleep just on the drive to Barber to get that going. He said a big shout out to Magnum Collision, a nearby Porsche shop that helped them get that car straightened up. And as the Escalade leads them around, it's a beautiful vehicle. We hope that once the race starts, it just gets to sit and park and everybody can admire it while it's stationary. We are close to getting round 3 of the GT, GTA, and GTS championships underway. Stay with us. We will be back. Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park as we are ready to set sail for this 3rd round of the GT, GTA, and GTS championship chase. A lot of history, certainly, in this part of the country, and able to enjoy some of it, we hope, when everybody comes here for a nice visit. But, of course, today our focus is on the track, and we have some very special things unfolding. One of them we're talking about there with Jack Baldwin. Here is our quad box presented by Kia, featuring these amazing GoPro cameras.
It's going to be some awesome views, a great racetrack to look at, but the action should be fast and furious here around this tight racetrack. As we said, tough to pass. You're going to trade a little paint, I think, during the course of today's action.
Yeah, exactly. Initially designed as a motorcycle racing track. With that in mind, it does present unique challenges for these cars, especially the big GT machinery. And watch that green flag at the back of the grid. When that flies, you will see a 10-second board raised. Now that basically just indicates the start sequence will begin. It's not an exact 10-second count. The Escalade takes up position at the back of the field. There it is, 10 seconds. This is going to be interesting. The launch for these GT3 cars, uncertain. For the caddies, we know it's great.
Well, that could be their ace up their sleeve. These standing starts are really critical. They've got to make it work right now.
Boy, it is a fantastic field. Here is a great aerial shot, and that is the split between the back of the GT field and the start of the GTS field. Great idea to preserve that just in case there's some sort of issue. Watch for those wheeling lights to come on, and we will be racing. As soon as they go out, round 3 will be underway. They are on. Watch for the launches. We go, oh, both of the McLarens from K-Pax, a bit of a stall, and one of the Porsches as well.
Yeah, I think that may have been Mills, but a great start from the front row for the two red Ferraris. O'Connell has a blistering start as well. He's up to third immediately.
Absolutely incredible, and Andy Pilgrim trying to wedge his way in there too. Thankfully, both of the McLarens from K-Pax able to get going, and more thankfully, everybody able to cycle through and get around them.
That is amazing that they got through there cleanly, and such a disappointment for those two K-Pax cars. Robert Thorne did a great job in that McLaren in qualifying. He's got to dig deep now.
Boy, they have their work cut out on
look at
this
this
track.
deep.
Brett Curtis running it wide, but a nice job saving it, getting it back on track.
Baldwin there! The leader in GTS, he gets slammed coming off turn 5.
Wow, bit of contact early. This is exactly what we would expect. Oh no, who is that? That is the Dat Dog. Yo MTV Raps car, Brad Adams in the gravel.
Wow, and he's not going to be going anywhere.
No, that's buried. Let's go back and take a look at the start, Cal.
There you see O'Connell swing around those two McLarens that stalled there on the grid. Nice clean start, a good start for Palmer. He's into fourth immediately.
And we're going to give you an aerial look at it. There you can see both the McLaren stalling, and what a launch by O'Connell.
It was a great launch, and also Mike Skeen there. He got away cleanly and then seemed to struggle there finding gears.
Of course, that team relatively new to that Audi. There are the two McLarens. Finally, Thorne able to get it started, and then Figge able to drive off as well. Mills continued too. And watch Adams' in-car, the incident that unfolds here, Cal.
Look at this, up into turn 2, he just launches off the rear fender of Mikey Taylor, gets stuck into the gravel. That was a wild ride for sure.
Now watch it here, contact in front of them, but he gets air.
That was incredible, that beautiful flared arch of that Aston Martin just created a launching ramp for him.
On board with Tony Gables, you can see there was air under all 4 of those tires. Boy, these GoPros give us such great high-definition shots. You can see air under all 4 tires for Adams. He ends up in the gravel, but he's out now, so we are looking forward to going back to green. But before we do, our Optima battery's best standing start, Mitch Landry in the Versa Crane Mustang, up 9 spots in that opening lap. Boy, just you can see him just driving around people. That was a launch.
It was, and you could see all the stranded cars on the grid, so everyone had to be on their toes there, and luckily we got away without any major incident.
So let's go back and now take one more look at how that start unfolded here. And again, this is the GTS start, and there you can see Janssen getting a good start. Whew, that was close.
Yeah, Janssen and Wilkins there side by side as they take off. We're on board here with Andy Lee. Look at that. There's just an alley down the outside. Luckily, it's a nice wide racetrack here for the start.
Here's another angle of it as Phil struggled, moved, struggled, then finally was able to launch. But it was just that fierce for these guys trying to work through. But everybody made it, and again, a huge testament to the quality of the drivers here in the Pirelli World Challenge. Here a look right now under caution at the leaders in GT. Here are your leaders in GTS. Janssen topping the field. The Pirelli World Challenge is being brought to you by Motul, the official lubricant and brake fluid of the Pirelli World Challenge. By SRT, because daily should never be routine. And by Kia Motors and the Kia Optima. It is not your average midsize sedan. Welcome back to the Pirelli World Challenge at Barber Motorsports Park, presented by RECARO. You know, success on the track for the teams is down to communication from the pits, and that means you need a strong communication package, and Speedcom supports these teams well.
Radio check, radio check.
Copy.
What we do here is we provide trackside sales and support for two-way communication. Radios and frequencies, and you know, when you have towers and cell phones and stuff going off, and you know, television crews out here, and you got all these frequencies in the air, and you never know when they're going to show up. You never know when you're going to spike, and something's going to mess up. But that's my challenge, and that's what I'm here for.
Speedcom Communications gives us exactly what we need as a team and as a driver myself. Communication is absolutely everything.
How's the car feeling?
Car feels good. Overall stability feels good.
I can sell you something all day long and turn my back and walk away. But if I'm not there to support that product, then you know, I don't feel good about myself. So the service after the sale is what, you know, we at Speedcom pride ourselves in.
Good job.
The Pirelli World Challenge officials rely on speed, calm as well. We're going back to green. Those two beautiful Pirelli Motorsports Ferraris lead them to the green, led by Nick Mancuso, a GTA category driver for the non-professional driver. Green flag flies. He has been a great story all weekend. Ooh, a little bit of a look there. Way in the back, Andy Pilgrim going after it. That is on Bergmeister, Cal.
Beautiful move. He just used every ounce of experience there to line him up. Got a good launch off that final corner. Turn 17 and makes the move down the front straightaway.
And ooh, a little bit wide there, but I'll tell you, Andy doesn't have any issues. We saw it at Long Beach, running it right out to the edge of every possible ounce of track, using it up. Mancuso down into that tricky turn 5.
Tell you what, Mancuso was on fire here this weekend, took the pole position and looks really good on cold tires here on this restart. Look at that. Tim Pappas there down to the inside with that Mercedes.
Able to get around Dan Knox in that beautiful Viper, able to make the pass. Pappas has said they're having the same issue they had when he ran last year in that car, is just getting the rear tires to come up to temp as quick as the others. And he said once it does, it's great, but it sometimes takes a little while. We hop on board with Tim Pappas. That is one beautiful race car.
Yeah, and watch this. Watch the horsepower of that GT car. He slides by Nick Johnson, who currently runs in the second spot in the GTS division.
Just saw Baldwin flash out of the picture, leading in GTS.
Oh, look at this. Palmer's looking racy on O'Connell there. That's a battle for third. Mancuso has taken off a little bit from Anthony Lazzaro. Lazzaro seems to be struggling a bit for grip. O'Connell tries to take advantage. I think Anthony's just trying to get these tires up to temp and try and find the sweet spot right now.
Well, you said before that Lazzaro, the way the setup he likes on his car, it just takes it a little while, as he said, to wake up, doesn't it?
That's right, and that's really critical. He's playing for the long run here, so he needs a few laps on this stint to really start to show his hand. Look at this on board with Palmer. What a tremendous talent this young boy is. But he's got a lot of experience right in front of him. We're talking about the young guns. Can they bring it home today? They currently run first and fourth with two old dogs, Lazzaro and O'Connell, the meat in the sandwich.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you, this is a learning opportunity extraordinaire for Andrew Palmer, isn't it, to sit behind those two guys. Problem is, right behind him, he's got his team leader in James Sofronis right on his 6, and they had a great battle at Long Beach. Palmer doesn't want to get involved in that. Surprise to you, maybe that Skeen dropped back a little bit here early?
Yeah, he seemed to get off the line good, but then under acceleration, he didn't really get going and was taken advantage of by Palmer, certainly going down into turn 1. So he's going to try and regroup here, but certainly good to see that team, CRP, getting up to speed with Saudi really quickly, qualifying on the second row in only their second event with that race car.
Boy, as we hop on board right now, absolutely fantastic. Again, video from these
flow through
cameras. What a great track.
And this is where these GT3 cars really shine, with these high downforce corners. They really flow through there with tremendous speed as Skeen now looks for a way by Sofronis.
You know, the GT3 cars are homologated and have to stay as they are, but they are homologated with different packages. We know that the Audi package has gone for more downforce than some of the others, including those Ferraris, including the McLarens, and you would think on this track that would be really strong for that Audi. As we're on board with Jack Baldwin, and he's got to be so excited after the work that crew did to get this car rebuilt. He said it was virtually totaled, and they were able to rebuild that car. He said the best thing I can do to repay him is give him a great run, and he's doing that right now.
Doing a great job. I mean, he's tweeting pictures of the cars still with no decals on it, just 24 hours before they rolled the car onto the transporter. So tremendous work to get the car here. We're on board now with Mills. He had a very difficult start. Oh, that's tight there as he slides by the inside of the GTS car of Jack Roush Jr.
Yeah, Roush having a battle with that blue Mustang behind him, Dean Martin, and Roush in the Roush Road Racing, Ford Racing entry, as we're watching some of the other, a little bit of dust and debris off to the side of the track. There's young Jorge De La Torre in the 04, the white Aston Martin, being chased by the green and white Porsche. That's the Racing for Children Porsche of Clint Guthrie. Behind him, that white Mustang, Chris Outzen for iTrack Zone in that Boss 302S. They're enjoying a roller coaster.
It really is. It's a roller coaster racetrack, and it makes it very challenging for the drivers to learn for the very first time, and really hard to get a good setup on the race car. You're really asking a lot out of it to really work through all these different elevation changes.
And blind approaches to corners keeps it interesting. Here are our leaders in GT: Mancuso, Lazzaro, O'Connell, and Palmer. In GTS, Baldwin over Janssen, Wilkins, and Aschenbach. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge is being brought to you by HPD, Honda's North American Racing Company. By Porsche, Intelligent Performance. And by the Fiat 500 Abarth, small but wicked. This Pirelli World Challenge broadcast is being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz AMG Customer Sports, by the Cadillac V-Series, the 556 horsepower CTSV Coupe, sedan, and wagon, the world's fastest family of cars, and by HPD, Honda's North American racing company. The veteran Jack Baldwin continues to lead here at the Pirelli World Challenge at Barber Motorsports Park, presented by RECARO in the GTS category. Again, just that great story unfolding. You see, he's now been able to put the lap car, Brad Adams, who was stuck in the gravel a bit earlier, in between he and Nick Janssen. Adams, nice job there, opening the wheel up, letting Janssen go through. Brad understands the game.
Yeah, and this is a tricky part of the racetrack, particularly right there. Turn 4, it can get really dicey there when you've got a lot of traffic on the restarts and stuff like that. That can be a problem area of the racetrack, but Jack looks really comfortable up front. Kia's looking good. I think they're really going to try and manage those front tires. A lot of horsepower going through that, and on this type of racetrack, you want tires at the end when you go for a battle for the win.
Well, this track is challenging, but it's challenging on tires generally, isn't it? It's very smooth, but there's an abrasiveness to it that had these Kias concerned.
Yeah, it really does, and here we see Nick Janssen. They've really turned things around. I mean, they had a disastrous first round at St. Petersburg, got both cars to the finish, but not with the sort of performance factor they were looking for. So we're now on board with Nick Janssen, looking at the I-back suspension cam, and you can see it working through the various corners, elevation changes, up and over the curbs in certain spots. You can eat some of the curbs here. They're nice and smooth, nice transitions, but Kia have really turned things around with the performance of that race car, having the win at Long Beach, of course.
And there is a look at Andy Lee, that Crown 7 Best IT Camaro, who's slipped back a little bit. He had that great launch, but now finds himself back in the 8th spot in that Camaro. An immensely talented driver. He's got his work cut out for him right now because he's got a lot of those Ford Mustangs right up in front. It's a manufacturer's battle in this GTS category.
It really is. You got Buffamonte and Martin up in front of them. But here we see the two Ferraris just closed down here a little bit in traffic. Mancuso looked really strong in the opening laps here. But Lazaro, we said his car should be coming in. Now it's starting to look good. It looks like it's got much better. Oh, problems for Palmer. Left rear is down, Greg.
Oh, it is. He is off, and fortunately, I don't think he got into those barriers. And the thing is, Cal, he'd been running as high as 4th, but in the last couple laps, had been fading a little bit. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here.
As he comes into turn 12, you can see the left rear is down, and this may have been a reason for his sort of falling through the field a little bit. He'd lost a couple of spots, one to his teammate James Safronis. If that tire was going down a little bit, he would have certainly been losing performance, and then it catches him out there. He tries to catch it, but there's no way it's going to work. I mean, the weight transfer of the car changes completely. Fortunately, not a big hit. Remember, we've got another race here tomorrow.
Absolutely, very, very important here. So he's able to back it up and did not get into the barriers, but he's got a long limp around. And tell you, for this young Charger, that's going to make it awfully frustrating today. As we continue, though, again, Mancuso on clear track, able to open that margin up.
Yeah, he did, and I'm sure that some of that was traffic here. If you catch traffic in the wrong spot, you're going to lose a second or two very easily. You see O'Connell dropping away a little bit as well. Baldwin, however, in the GTS lead, he continues to impress. And the crew has literally been burning the midnight oil to get this car here this weekend. Jack resides in Atlanta. It's just a short drive down the road, and he's got a lot of fans and family here this weekend.
Yeah, crew working in shifts, and the car, the frame going over to Magnum Collision, then coming back, having to put all the racing components and everything back on again as we hop on board with Jack Baldwin, this GoPro camera giving us some of these fabulous shots here. And he is an amazing story, Cal.
He really is. I mean, at his age, he just continues to get the job done. And we talk about the GT3 spec, GT cars being well suited to this racetrack. I think everyone thought that Jack's Porsche was going to be strong here this weekend, and it certainly is. But Janssen isn't letting him go.
No, actually, I'm quite impressed that Janssen is able to stay this close on a track that we, as we talked about, we thought would really affect those front
look at
tires.
this!
Oh, and Lazaro coming up, trying it. It's on the outside. That's difficult to make it work, and Mancuso hangs on, but Lazaro, I think that car's awake.
It really is. He has caught him in a hurry. So for Nick Mancuso, the young Charger, has he burned those tires down by going too hard too early in this stint? But he's hanging on for dear life. He probably thought, oh, I've got this one in the bag. But he had a big gap over his teammate, but Lazaro's back on him right now.
You think Mancuso's nervous. I think the crew watching this, if Anthony's going to go into attack mode, that's going to really have that crew up on the wall. Nice job there by Mancuso, but Lazaro, he's pretty savvy. He was not going to let traffic slice him up. He gets underneath Oetsen and now comes up right behind it, and I think now that is coming up on the back of Lawson Aschenbach. So we're getting into that fast group of the GTS cars.
Here comes Safronis. Skeen is in front of him. Palmer's in the pits, getting that tire changed.
All right, again, if there was no damage, and it didn't look like it would, he will be able to continue a long ways down.
The news from the pits is they believe that was debris that may have cut down that Pirelli.
All right, there are your leaders in GT. In GTS, Baldwin hanging on, both leaders under pressure. This is how racing should be. The top sports car racers in North America. 50-minute, door-to-door, all-out sprint races. Standing starts and 0 scheduled pit stops. A battle of the brands with over 18 manufacturer brands racing. Watch us on the NBC Sports Network and online at world-challengetv.com. The Pirelli World Challenge. This is how racing should be. The Pirelli World Challenge is being brought to you by Grassroots Motorsports, the hardcore sports car magazine. Subscribe today. By OPTIMA batteries. With up to 3 times the life and 15 times the vibration resistance, OPTIMA batteries really are the ultimate power source. And by Ford, go further. We are under caution here at the Pirelli World Challenge at Barber Motorsports Park, presented by RECARO. While we were away, the Reiter Engineering, Blau Pharmaceutical, that beautiful Lamborghini Gallardo FL2 ended up in the gravel trap. Marcello Hahn, just a little bit of an error, and it ended up in the gravel, and here you can see what happened, Cal.
Yeah, this is coming through that 7-8 complex, just gets in there a little bit too deep and loses the rear end of that Lamborghini and goes for a bit of a ride here. And these gravel traps work well in keeping you off the Armco, but get you stuck at the same time.
Well, they got the delightful Marcello out of the gravel trap, and we're going back to green, led by Mancuso. I got to think the Cadillacs love that caution to cool off those tires, probably those Kias as well. And we are back to green, and right away a big move. Johnny looks down to the inside. Look at Skeen trying to get around the outside, and he's wide but hangs on to it. That is
Look
Sofronis.
at Sofronis. Boy, oh boy, he's making a big move around the outside of O'Connell. Can he make it stick?
Oh, not quite.
And Skeen gets back by him.
Incredibly close. Meanwhile, Baldwin for a minute was up on the outside of Bergmeister in that effort racing car. We hop on board with Nick Janssen.
Motul braking zone, he takes it in deep, he sliced it in. Contact between Janssen and our leader, Baldwin. Wilkins is through.
Wilkins has picked up the lead. There goes the rest of the GT front runners. Boy, Jack able to recover. We're on board here with Wilkins, and the GoPro camera is going to tell us what happened, Cal.
Well, this is a great look at it. Nick Janssen had determined he wanted to go down the inside of Baldwin. Baldwin saw him come and tries to squeeze him a little bit. Not enough real estate for both race cars.
Both of them off, both of them lucky to avoid that gravel, but now they're at the back, and the battle is on here. That's Dean Martin working around the outside of Lawson Aschenbach. Lawson floats wide. Here comes Buffamani, and he's got the Ferrari of Hedman right behind him, but Buffamani slices through. Boy, that was close.
That was really close. You had the faster GT car of Hedman, and look at this, Janssen's got problems. He's got drama. Right front issues with that contact with Baldwin.
Yeah, that looks like it's body rubbed, that tire. Now into that fender well. You got to be very careful you don't cut that tire down. He's going to be struggling. Meanwhile, O'Connell is back alive in that Cadillac, but he has to be because look who's right behind him.
Well, I think Lazzaro has got around.
He has.
Lazzaro's in the lead. This is now the battle of a second. O'Connell slides down the inside of Mancuso. Mancuso's lost 2 spots in a lap.
Unbelievable, great move right there. And here comes Sofronis trying to get around Mancuso. Skeen tucked right behind him in that Black Hawk Performance Audi as we are on board with Sofronis. And there is Mancuso. They're still side by side. And he had to give, Sofronis did. The grass was coming up. He's going to try it again.
Deep in the brakes. They're ganging up on Mancuso right now. He has to regroup.
And Sofronis
Pilgrim's there in the mix.
Oh, boy, and now that counter move. Here he comes. Boy, that was a great recovery.
Oh, he gets hit. He gets hit. He had the straightaway speed to get back by Sofronis, and then jumps on the brakes. Jen gives him a little love tap. Look at Skeen and Pilgrim side by side through 8 and 9.
Unbelievable action here, and right behind them is Bergmeister having his best race of the season.
Best view of the season, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. True, too. Talk about a seat right there, but now, finally, Mancuso gives himself a little room, but Jeff Reeves is off. Something wrong with that car. We'll try and find out exactly what it is, but Mancuso finally gets a little bit of breathing room. Not Sofronis, as he's got Pilgrim hounding him and Skeen all over him.
Well, I wonder if Mancuso just got pushed wide through one of those little battles and maybe got some debris on his tires, had to clean those off and get the grip back, but he's trying to regroup here now. He's got to try and chase down O'Connell, but this battle is raging here right now between Pilgrim and Skeen. We're on board with Bergmeister now. He gets the run down the front straightaway, takes it to the inside of Mike Skeen. That looked easy.
Boy, that was a great run.
But
now
Skeen's not giving
Skeen
it to
fights
him.
back on the outside, stays parked, and he's going to get that spot back. And I think that may have been the arrow in that Audi able to take him just a little bit deeper and allow him to stick around the outside.
Well, you said they're loaded up on downforce, and that certainly shows here through these high-speed sweepers here at Barber.
Oh, and we've got a car backwards. I think that might be Bill Ziegler in the Swisher Racing Global Motorsports Group Audi R8 Ultra. And hopefully he can get it turned around and continue here without affecting oncoming traffic. You can see that corner worker. Oh, and Thorne has gone around. Thorne in the K-Pax McLaren.
Had a great qualifying run, had that stall along with his teammate Alex Figge on the grid, was coming back through the field.
Here he comes.
Oh, that's that dangerous corner. That's turn 4, Greg. In traffic, it can get pinched on you. He was trying to slide to the inside of Jack Roush Jr. Goes up and over the curb and turns that McLaren around.
Boy, nice job getting that drive forward to keep it out of the barriers. Here's another onboard look at it here. We got a little air over that curb, didn't he?
Stranded car of Reeves there to the inside as well. That could have been nasty.
Ooh, he got away with it. Actually, here's a look from that car. Look at that. Some serious air.
If
Thank
the
you,
slower
Jeff.
traffic doesn't see you coming, they're going to sweep over on the line, and you're already committed to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we get back into watching some of this action. And again, Safronis, then Pilgrim in the black Cadillac, then Skeen in that Hawk Performance Audi R8 Ultra. And you know, you can watch and keep up to date via the social media on the Pirelli World Challenge. First, go to world-challenge.com, the latest news and views on the World Challenge, or world-challengetv.com. We can check out great in-car video, driver interviews, watch this race, all the other races. Facebook, search the Pirelli World Challenge fan page, interact with other World Challenge fans, and on Twitter, join the World Challenge Twitter account at twitter.com/WC Racing. Instant updates on race weekends from the series.
Mancuso is back on form. He's found the speed back in that Ferrari. He's chasing down Johnny O'Connell. But look at the lead that Lazaro now enjoys.
Yeah, he has checked out. Meanwhile, lots of action back in both the GT. Oh, and a bit of a bump there. Knox getting into Marcello. Marcello off of Thorne. A bit of bumping and grinding. Here's how it looks right now. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Pirelli World Challenge at Barber Motorsports Park, presented by RECARO. You know, we've seen a lot of success from Cadillac in this series over the years. Our perspective, it's easy. Great drivers and great cars. But how about from the team's perspective?
There's a few things that add up to the success of Cadillac Racing, and one of the biggest ones is continuity. We strive very hard to have continuity amongst the team members, continuity in the processes that we use. All the different engineers that are on the program use the same software, the same simulation tools, the same modeling tools, anything like that. They all have the same basic tool to work with, and that creates continuity.
I think the consistency of the people and obviously the abilities of those engineers and mechanics, there's just a whole fluid dynamic in the team that makes it successful, and over a long period of time it just gets better and better.
We only have one guy on our crew that has not been here all 3 years, and that's a big part. They learn to work together, they learn each other's habits, they learn to support each other, they get a job that they're best suited to. All those things go together to make a complete team.
Well, great drivers, of course, play a big role, but so does great management.
Absolutely. Steve Cole's so much experience, a great stabilizing influence over that whole group.
Oh boy, Johnny O'Connell in his mirrors, nothing but Mancuso. Chris Outzen in the iTrack Zone Mustang having a great spin, able to drive off, and that's huge here. He got away with one. This track can sometimes, as we've talked about, get you in that gravel. Anthony Lazaro, once he went to the front, he has just been able to check out, Cal.
Yeah, he just put a setup on that car that was going to come to him. He had to battle through those first 2 or 3 laps, but right now he's in a league of his own. And I tell you what, Cadillac, Johnny O'Connell, he's feeling the heat from the second of those red Ferraris. Mancuso has recovered, and he is really putting the pressure on right now. As you see him come onto this front straightaway, he has good straightaway speed. He's side by side here with O'Connell down into the brake zone. Who's going to make it stick?
Well, again, this is a corner. If you can stay on the outside and you get help, and he does. Boy, what a nice move by O'Connell. While that was unfolding, we hope you noticed the white flag flew. We are on our last lap, so Mancuso knows this is it. This is my shot. He is hounding O'Connell.
Down into the Motul brake zone. Can he do anything? Johnny hugs the middle of the road. Mancuso flicks back to the inside, takes it in deep. Johnny O'Connell.
Too deep.
Wow, O'Connell rebounds the over and under. He gets back underneath him. Tracks him out, but gives him some racing room. They touch a little bit.
Boy, do you think that was O'Connell teaching that young guy a little lesson, taking him in just a little too deep?
Wow, O'Connell's using every ounce of his experience right now to try and hang on to this second place finish.
And you know that Ferrari, that balance on that car is very, very strong right now. And O'Connell, even with that caution at this stage in that heavier Cadillac, the tires are stressed. He is hanging on every ounce of all of those years of experience, Le Mans 24-hour wins and the like, coming into play right now to try and hang on.
Both these guys are loving it though, Greg. Mancuso, he loves duking it out with these guns who have been here a long time, and Johnny O, he just loves a battle any time of the day.
Meanwhile, Anthony Lazzaro in that Pirelli Motorsports Ferrari of Ontario 458 Italian GT3 out of turn 17, and he picks up his first World Challenge win. But look at this battle for second.
Coming up, it's going to be O'Connell. He hangs on. What a great drive by Johnny O. I tell you what, he didn't expect to finish on the podium here today. Great run.
Meanwhile, Mark Wilkins, after that little give and go by Janssen and Baldwin, has gone to the lead, and if he can hang on these last couple of corners, a second straight win for these Kinetic and Kia Motors America, Kia Optima Turbos, Cal.
Yeah, Janssen took the win at Long Beach, and Wilkins has taken advantage of that contretemps there between Baldwin and Janssen to hang on for the win. Great job.
Brings it home, and of course you can see the margin again, part of that due to all of that getting together out there. And here's Jack Roush Jr. He's going to bring it home in second, his best finish after a pole at Long Beach, as Anthony Lazzaro turns it into victory circle. Lazzaro over O'Connell and Mancuso, that great battle. Sofronis, his best result of the season. Pilgrim fifth, then Skeen Bergmeister, his best result of the season, and second GTA driver Tim Pappas.
Yeah, that was a great battle throughout this whole GT field. Palmer there, you see him a lap down, having cut down a tire. He had to come up pit lane. He's got to try and rebound tomorrow.
And in the GTS category, Wilkins gets the win. Roush Jr., as we said, his best finish. Baldwin rebounds for third, but that car's got damage on it. Another long evening for the crew, maybe.
Yeah, that is, but he had a great lap, and the lap times from this race will actually set up the grid for tomorrow, so he should be in good shape for the second round here.
That's a very good point. That is important. Those lap times absolutely crucial. But up at the very top, it was Anthony Lazzaro winning overall and in GT, and he is with the third member of our broadcast team, Jeff Lepper.
So Anthony Lazzaro, Pirelli Motorsports, racing with Ferrari, podium at Long Beach. You put it together for a win today.
Yeah, in the short time this team's been around, you know, me and Rainbow talked a year ago about this thing about him owning his own team and how quickly it came together. This guy right here put together the best people in the business. I mean, the guys that we have on our team are fantastic. Finally had a really good car in the race. You know, we've been learning, haven't really done any testing, and it came true today, you know? That's what pays off.
Let's take a look at our Cadillac CTSV move of the race, Johnny O'Connell's move into second.
Well, Johnny Red doesn't need to be asked twice. He saw an opening and made it stick.
And neither did Mark Wilkins. He made a move when he had an opportunity, wins in GTS. He's with Jeff.
Mark Wilkins, Kia Motors America, third place at Long Beach. Redemption for you here.
Yeah, it feels great. I mean, this is just great for Kia, right by their headquarters. You know, it's just awesome. Got a lot of people down from the plant, and couldn't have a better result for them today. Thanks to Kinetic for preparing a great car. Been working so hard, you know, braking, handling, just getting this car really dialed in, and worked really well here at on the sweeping road course here at Barber.
Let's take a look at our Sunoco hard charger, and it goes to Tony Buffamonte, who moved up a whopping 8 spots from the start of the race to the finish of the race in the overall order. Congratulations to Tony, a really superb talent to be sure. And our Kia turning point has to be this moment for Marcello Hahn, because it created the caution that brought the field together, and Cal allowed those caddies to cool off some tires.
It did, allowed the caddies to cool off some tires, and it also was a turning point in the GTS race. Remember Janssen trying to make that move on Baldwin on that restart.
Motul fast laps, Palmer in GT, Baldwin in GTS. That's important. Why? Well, because it's the Motul fast laps, but also because it establishes our pole qualifiers for round 4. That coverage coming up next. We're not done yet, folks. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge is being brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering. Visit AudiUSA.com or schedule a test drive today. By Chevrolet, find new roads. and by the Bob Bondurant School of High Performance Driving, internationally recognized as the leading authority in driver training for 46 years. Welcome back to the Pirelli World Challenge at Barber Motorsports Park, presented by RECARO. Time for round 4 of the GT and GTS championships, also including, of course, the subcategory GTA for the non-professional driver. Although, as Rick Mancuso proved, you can move from one to the other during the course of a weekend. He's gone. Andrew Palmer did that at the opening round at St. Pete. He is our Motu Pole Award winner in the GT category after that great lap that he turned in the race in round 3. Jack Baldwin coming back after the contact, set the fast lap. He is our Motu Pole Award winner for GTS, and we are ready to go with round 4 just that quick. There is Palmer on pole. There is Lazzaro alongside.
Watch for Figgy 2 in that K-Pax McLaren there, sits in the 3rd spot.
Yeah, he wants redemption after that stall yesterday. At great speed, the lights are out. We are racing, and a good start. And again, look at Sofronis.
Struggles again, but look at O'Connell. He slices up the 3rd.
The guy, those Cadillacs are magic on the start. Baldwin in the background looks like he did get off the line and hang on, but we've got a huge shunt. A Grand Carambolage down in turn 1. And it's 4 of the key Mustangs in GTS, Cal.
Udell's there, Jack Roush Jr., Buffamonte, Martin. Unbelievable to take 4 of the same mark out in one incident.
Yeah, and the front runners as well in that Ford racing program. Unbelievable, 4 cars off. There's Buffamonte, and you can see he's got some smoke that's emanating from that car, but all 4 gathered up, and look at this. I mean, they are in a big squeeze. There's Robert Thompson, one of the Pirelli World Challenge safety team specialist. Immediate response, that's always reassuring, as well as the rest of the Barber crew. And there's Mikey Taylor in that.
He could have been involved as well there.
May have been, yeah.
All those cars were close together on the grid.
Well, he's a young 17-year-old that on his own moved from South Africa to Auburn, Alabama. Boy, and look at Alex Udell is hot right now. Let's see if we can figure out what happened, Cal.
Well, here we see the initial start. O'Connell weaving his way through there. Figgy again didn't get off the line well. Lazzaro, great start there from the outside of the front row, takes it around Palmer. And then you see further back in the pack, just they all got together.
Oof. Yeah, from that angle, it was tough to see exactly what happens here. Watch
there you see, Mikey Taylor was involved. He could have been the instigator there, trying to go between 2 of the Mustangs.
Yeah, and then the number 33 of Buffamonte, the blue car, on board Udell here.
Yeah, right there. There was just a squeeze play there in the middle of the grid. Mikey Taylor involved. He clips that. The first of the Mustang, then turns it into Udell, and he takes 2 others along for the ride. He had no idea where that came from.
Not a clue. And you can see why they're happy to have those RECARO seats with all of that jostling that was going on in those multiple hits. Nonetheless, we're going to have a long caution here. And Udell still trying to figure it out, trying to have a chat with somebody down there, trying to get an answer.
Well, I said the instigator was Mikey Taylor. I think there's just too many cars going for the same piece of the racetrack. Mikey Taylor was in the middle. He had Buffamonte to his left, Udell to the right. And they just all touched, and we saw the consequences of that one.
That's ping-ponging is what it was. Here's a look at Jeff Reeves in the Shadow Works Camaro from Best IT. And did he get a launch? You bet he did, and he gets the Optima Batteries best standing start, up 11 overall spots in that opening lap. And of course, part of it is because of all this, Cal.
Yeah, you can see the carnage over there to the right side of the racetrack. So he had a great start and then took advantage of other cars' mishap.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Jeff Reeves, one of the rookies in this championship. So absolutely awesome. Here's another look at it, Cal.
Well, one of the Astons is slow away. That could have been one of the issues. And as they all come down here just past the start-finish line, this is where it gets really tight. You see Buffamonte in that bright blue Mustang clips Mikey Taylor. He comes across straight into Udell. Dean Martin and Jack Roush Jr. also involved. And everyone's just trying to figure out what exactly happened, trying to put these pieces together. But obviously devastating for all the guys right now.
There's a little bit of a tete-a-tete unfolding down here between some of the drivers involved in that one. And Jack Roush showing he's maybe the brightest of the bunch, leaving that helmet on. Oh, and Udell was walking away and has now come back and rejoined. So they're really trying to suss this out. And, of course, it's important because they're all Ford drivers. They want to know what it was. There's Mikey Taylor in that 09 Adobe Road Winery Aston Martin. Let's see if we can see what happened here from Tony Gaples.
There you see it. Yeah, I mean, Buffamonte was sort of coming back online a little bit. Mikey Taylor had squeezed his nose in between the 2 Mustangs, just not enough room.
And the result, all 4 of the top running Mustangs are off track, and It's going to be a frustrating day, obviously, for him, but the good news is they all appear to be okay. Bob Thompson down there looking after him, and everybody's all right, just having a bit of a chat. Now they're just waiting for a ride back to the pits. It's going to take a little while to get these cars cleared out, obviously, and Mikey Taylor out of the car, too. As I said, 17 years old, moved from his native South Africa by himself, got hooked up with a local SCCA team, somehow got the connection with Kevin Buckner's The Racers Group. Those guys certainly recognize talent, put Mikey in the car, and he had a great run in round 3 and would have been a player in this one for sure. Unfortunately, we had the incident that he was taken out in. So we're going to step away for a moment. We'll come back hopefully to some green flag racing. Meanwhile, here's a look at the leaders in our 3 divisions. The Pirelli World Challenge is being brought to you by STOPTECH, championship-winning brake components and systems for racing cars and high-performance vehicles on the street or track. STOPTECH, brake late, finish first. By Mazda, who reminds you that conviction, courage, and creativity are the Mazda way. And by the new Mini, the new original. We are ready to resume green flag competition here at the Pirelli World Challenge at Barber Motorsports Park, presented by RECARO. Round 4 of GT and GTS with the GTA division within, and Anthony Lazzaro brings him to the line. Hard to find many more experienced than Anthony Lazzaro, but he has got a young Charger on his 6. And Johnny O'Connell, once again, boy, does this guy know how to start.
Oh, they rub. There's a little rub there between Palmer and O'Connell as they slide through turn 1.
And Johnny also wise enough to know, all right, that's not going to work, and right back out of it. They want points after he had that tough start to the season at St. Pete.
Lazzaro brought them really slowly up to the line. I think he believed the Audi behind him wouldn't have the acceleration of that Ferrari. Used it to good effect there. Palmer putting the heat on.
Yeah, and that helped Johnny, didn't it? Get that run, certainly. Meanwhile, looking back a little bit, there's Robert Thorne in the McLaren from Capex, trying to move his way up just a little bit. Mike Skeen looking a little racy on James Sofronis.
He is. Sofronis was trying to put the heat on Mancuso going through turn 5. Mancuso's gapped in a little bit, and now Skeen is all over him. There we see Figgy as well in the mix.
What a great train of race cars, absolutely glorious equipment working its way through the undulations of Barber Motorsports Park. First visit for the series here, this event, and everybody loving this.
Yeah, this is fun. It's a little cooler day here today, a little bit more overcast. Great track conditions, though. The tires love it. Here we see Jack Baldwin. He now leads for the 2nd day in a row in the GTS division. Can he get this one home?
Well, Jack told me, he said, you know, the crew up late again working on that car after the contact yesterday, and he said, we tried a little bit different setup on the car. We think it'll be better. We're going to find out. He is leading right now. Here comes Lazzaro. He has opened the margin up by a whopping 3 to 4 car lengths.
Well, yesterday we saw Anthony's car take 2 or 3 laps to really find the sweet spot. Today he's got the lead, he's got the track position, and the car looks to be balanced really, really well. Can he hang on for his 2nd consecutive victory?
Here comes Baldwin, who is starting to stretch that margin there just a little bit once again over the Kia. And then it is Andy Lee and Lawson Aschenbach in the 2 Camaros, 3rd and 4th, as Baldwin fends his way through. We hop on board. Aschenbach, the GoPro camera, giving us some driver's eye views.
Out of 3, up and over 4. Now we're heading down into that Motul brake zone. This is where Aschenbach will be looking to the inside. Andy will know it. Here he comes. Slides it down to the inside. Beautiful, classic, textbook move by Lawson Aschenbach.
Nice job as we're now on board with Lee. And you surprised her that Lee left that door open a little bit like that?
Well, I think if you didn't both drive for the same manufacturer, maybe it would have been a different story.
That could be, yeah. There's a look at Ryan Eversley, an interesting story. That's the Compass 360 team, bringing one of the Subaru all-wheel drive turbos over to run in GTS for this event, and bringing Ryan Eversley along, a great pilot and generally a delight to have in the paddock. Great to have him on board. There is Jeff Reeves, who had that great start, obviously, in the opening lap, as we are riding with him in that Shadow Works car.
Watch here, this is the high-speed section through turns 10 as we go back to the leaders. This is Sofronis holding down that 4th position.
And it's interesting because when the FIA homologated these cars, the way the manufacturers presented them, the Audis have more downforce on the car. The McLarens, the Ferraris opted to trim them out just a little bit to let those cars have a little bit more straight line speed. We're going to see how that's going to play out here.
Yeah, and it's really an ebb and flow to this racetrack, but 2 Audis going at it. Certainly the GMG will have a lot more miles on this platform than does CRP, but Skeen, we expected fireworks when they made the switch to the Audi. Correct myself, this is a battle for 5th, not for 4th right now.
And in that battle right there, sitting in the 7th spot, is Alex Figge. They had, again, a little bit of an issue with the launch. They said it was a mapping problem. They don't really have launch control, right? So they did a little tweaking on the mapping. It didn't work in that first race. They were able to figure it out here a little bit better in the second race. Still not great, but he's throwing down some laps right now.
Watch these cars whistle through these high-speed sweepers. Unbelievable there. There you see Sofronis there wiggling a little bit. Nearly lost the rear end.
That opened the door up almost for Mike Skeen. Thought about it, couldn't quite get it done.
Here comes Aschenbach. He's up to third. Now starting to put the heat on Nick Janssen. Janssen had a very strong car yesterday. Went for the lead down in turn 5 on that restart. Had the incident. That cost him dearly, a 22nd place finish.
Janssen pounding over the curbs, doing everything he can here. And like we've talked about, you've got cars, it's a different mix. Front drive, rear drive, horsepower, turbos, V8s, etc. on board with Lee.
Look at these guys use the curbs here. They're pretty easy, gentle curbs, so you'd want to try and use those as long as you don't unsettle the car too much. This is up through the final couple of corners, turns 16, 17.
And if you have to, bounce it over there, though. That's what they've been doing. Boy, these guys up front here, Sofronis continuing to hang on, actually opening that margin up just a little bit over Skeen.
And Figge right behind him, twitching a little bit there under braking down at Ramutul brake zone. Pilgrim starting to put the heat on. He wants more from that second caddy.
Boy, and that's what Pilgrim wants to see, right? The guy in front of you at the absolute edge, the car starting to dance a little bit. That'll motivate you.
Absolutely, and as we've seen so many times over the last few years in World Challenge competition, Andy's one of the best passers in the business. So deep on the brakes, he's really clinical when he makes that move.
Yeah, decisive. It's there and he's through it. It's absolutely a joy to watch. But that lead group has gapped these guys just a little bit now, and they're pretty much in their own battle at this point, on board with Sofronis.
On board with Sofronis, heading into this next fast chicane through turn 12.
Well, these transitions here are something, aren't
Look
they?
at Skeen. He's not letting him go. He looks to the inside. It tightens up right there. Not a place to make a move.
And the thing that you don't get from the TV perspective is a lot of these transitions, these high-speed transitions, Cal, are blind on the approach, too.
They are. When you got that big high wing in front of you, tough to see where you're going when you're trying to make that pass.
So Sofronis, Skeen, right there again. Skeen showing the nose, heading down into 1. Can't get it done. Figge watching.
This is a great battle right now. You can just see the front splitter ticking its way through turn 1 as it really reaches maximum downforce.
Great stuff to be sure. Pilgrim sitting there as well. Boy, I tell you, there's one of those completely blind brows. You don't know what's on the other side. Corner worker and those flags so huge here. And an equally good battle. This one, though, for second in GTS.
It's for second, and Wilkins has dropped back a little bit. We're hearing from the pits he's got a little bit of a boost issue on that second Kia. So yesterday's winner just trying to hang on right now.
Well, that'll frustrate you. Meanwhile, we hop on board with Eversley as he gets down the inside of that number 62 Aston Martin of Mark Lennon, the premier copier and Champ car, and he's able to slice through in that Toge tuning Subaru. What a great story having him on board here.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, Ryan's one of the true characters in the paddock and finally getting some chances, some opportunities. He's a really talented young driver. Came up through the ranks, really working as a mechanic for his father, who's been a long-time entrant in sports car racing. Ryan's now getting some good rides.
Here's a look at our leaders in GT and in GTS. We'll be back. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge is being brought to you by Aston Martin. Brought to you by Aston Martin Racing, be part of the experience. By BRM, timepieces built with pure racing spirit. And by Eibach, the world leader in high-performance suspension. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge has been brought to you by RECARO, premium automotive seats. Experience the difference. By GoPro, maker of the versatile Hero line of cameras. By Nissan, innovation that excites. And by RaceKeeper, the industry's leading video data logger. Make your next lap your best lap with RaceKeeper. We are heading to the finish here at the Pirelli World Challenge at Barber Motorsports Park, presented by RECARO. Great aerial shots giving you the look at how this track folds back on itself. Time and again, great viewing locations, but of course, we like our vantage point as we are watching a phenomenal race unfold. Lazzaro and Palmer have eased away from the rest of the pack, some of that happening a little bit of traffic, but Palmer has been relentless in that Global Motorsports Group, a Spider and Thermal Club Audi.
Yeah, he really has. Under 4 minutes to go now, so this is go time. If he's got anything in the bag, he needs to make it stick. Mancuso's all over the back of O'Connell for third as well in the background.
Well, it's interesting watching how it works because that Ferrari right there, you can see it eases away a little bit on the straights with that slightly lower downforce configuration, but under the brakes and in the twisty stuff, Palmer's there, and this battle at GTS is huge!
Aschenbach, a great run through the high-speed chicane there, trying to get right on the tail of Nick Janssen, but he is hanging on, driving a great line, just trying to read this traffic, back everyone up a little bit, and accelerate on by.
And Andy Lee right there in the Camaro as well. Hounding that Black Dog Speed Shop cars. We're going to hop on board with Aschenbach, and I wonder late in this race, are the front tires on that Kia maybe a little bit off their best?
Absolutely, that's the real key point. How do you manage those tires for these last couple of laps when you need good grip, when you're feeling pressure from behind? Aschenbach looks like he's got a lot of speed left in that Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro.
Boy, Janssen as a result is really aggressive on his turn-ins, isn't he? Boy, look at Aschenbach close up on the back. Again, through that tricky section, now down the dip, up over the brow. He eases to the inside for a sec. Janssen covers.
He does. He's got a little bit more speed, but I think they've done a great job with the performance balancing in this class now. The Kia used to just have straightaway speed, not a lot more. Now it's got good cornering speed, good braking. Not the advantage in the high-speed areas, but look at this. Really tight now with just 2 minutes left on the board.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. I don't think a piece of cardstock paper would have fit between those two cars. That is two pros making three with Andy Lee at the top of their game, racing as perfectly as you possibly can. Whoa, Aschenbach gets a run.
He does, Janssen. I think you're right, Greg. He may have used up his front tires a little bit later into this stint, and Aschenbach's trying to take advantage of it.
Keep in mind, folks, this is the battle for second because you can't even see him in the picture right now. Out front is Jack Baldwin. He is gone.
Look at Skeen coming. Skeen's putting the pressure on Mancuso. O'Connell's cleared them a little bit in traffic.
O'Connell dives underneath one of the Aston Martins. There's that red car of Mancuso with Skeen right behind. The white flag flies. Here is our lead battle. It is Lazzaro still hanging on over Palmer. And Lazzaro opens that up to like 2 car lengths on the straight, but right there, that fast, that Audi is there.
He is there, and we talked about it at the start of this show. Can one of these young guns, Mancuso or Palmer, break through? Right now, it's experienced lead in the field in Anthony Lazzaro, going for 2 wins in a row. Can he hang on in this Ferrari?
There he opens it up again a little bit. It's the professor and the student right now in a lot of ways. And Lazzaro down through that Motul brake zone. The Ferrari hanging on.
What's nice with the Ferrari has a little bit more straightaway speed. That allows him to run his normal line down into this brake zone and takes the pressure off him.
Here he opens it up again just a little bit down into this twisty section, Cal, and right away Palmer closes that gap down.
Palmer's right there. That Audi is really good on these long runs as we're having right now. He's going to try and put the pressure on Anthony, but tough to pass here.
Anthony through that tricky chicane. Here we go.
He's wide.
He's off. No, he's in the grass. He wiggles.
He's sideways. He's sideways.
There goes Palmer.
Palmer takes him. He takes him around the outside.
Oh my goodness. The young man forcing the veteran into the slightest of errors. But it's enough. But now traffic. That's Wilkins they're coming up on. How will this work?
Wow, Palmer's just got to be patient. He's got to be patient. He can get his first World Challenge win.
And Wilkins, ever the pro, said, I'll open the door up. I'm out of this one. And Palmer, what a final lap, Cal.
Unbelievable. He signals to his crew. GMG get a victory here. It's not James Safronis, it's the youngster. Andrew Palmer gets his first victory. What a drive.
Meanwhile, Baldwin is coming through. He is going to pick up the win unless something untoward happens. Jeff Reeves right in front of our battle as they come through.
Janssen's
Here's
trying to
the
stack him
opportunity.
up.
Baldwin coming up to take the checkered flag. Redemption for a crew that has been beleaguered. Here we go, Reeves. No, he's not going to be able to do it. Janssen hangs on.
He does. He just tried to stack the guys up behind him. He didn't want to force the issue on Reeves. Great driving there by Nick Janssen.
Here are the results. Palmer, Lazzaro, and O'Connell on the podium. Mancuso now a full GT driver in 4th, and Skeen. And you take a look at the rest of the pack. Henrik Hedman, we found out, ended up with a punctured tire apparently cut on a curb or some debris maybe from that first lap incident and ended up well down. But at GTS, Baldwin.
It was a great drive, really a dominant performance here today. He had the speed yesterday, got involved with Nick Johnson, but brings it back today for his first win of the year. Johnson really strong in the points. Nice rebound after the problems yesterday.
Absolutely fantastic. Here's a look at the rest of the field in GTS, and what a round of racing we had. And there you see at the back, look at that. The Fords and Mikey Teller, it's Aston Martin, all out on lap 1. Now, just a minute ago, an exultant Andrew Palmer out of the car. Let's get down to Jeff Lepper.
So Andrew Palmer, it took you one race to get your GTA win. It took you 4 races to get an overall GT win. Tell us about that last lap pass.
You know, just the entire race we were putting pressure on him. We knew that our car was going to be great in the long run, and it came in right at the perfect lap. He made a little bobble, and passing the outside was exciting to say the least. So, you know, shout out to the team, the Spider Racing, GMG Racing, Audi R8 Ultra was absolutely perfect.
It was, and here was our Cadillac move of the race, that little bobble by Lazaro, and Palmer through to the win.
It was a great save. He was trying to maximize his speed through turn 10, but it cost him dearly.
It did. Palmer on to the win, continuing a stunning debut season. Lazaro, though, does have the points lead over Johnny O'Connell, which is impressive enough with Pilgrim third. And Andrew Palmer now only 3 points back of Pilgrim, then Sofronis sitting there in 5th. In the GTA category for the non-professional driver, Mills leads a tie for second with Pappas and Hedman, then Courtney and Dan Knox.
As we look at the GT Manufacturers Championship, it's Caddy on top by 4 points over Ferrari, then Audi, but so many cool manufacturers in that mix.
And I think this battle is just going to get more fierce. Jack Baldwin a moment ago out of the car. He is exultant. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he is with Jeff Lepper.
Well, you paid your crew back with that pole position. Now you paid everybody back with this win.
Man, this is for the guys. This is all for the crew. They've worked so hard for the last 2 weeks, and you know, and this weekend too. Yesterday was another tough break for us. You know, we kind of got it stolen, but hey, today it worked out for us, and I got to thank everybody at Goldcrest Motorsports and Magnum Collision in Atlanta. Without you guys, it wouldn't have happened. And all our suppliers and great sponsors, Reset, Motool, and STOPTECH. I mean, you guys all stood up and got it done for us. RE Suspensions, fantastic. So this one's for everyone that's a part of our team. I'm so proud to be able to deliver this first place finish today. Wow.
You know, over the years, I have had the pleasure of announcing a lot of his wins, but I think for him, this one's going to rate right up there. Wilkins and Janssen, the Kia teammates on top. Into the points, Baldwin third, Aschenbach and Lee.
And the GTS Manufacturers points presented by Kia is Kia on top with 26 points, followed by Porsche, Ford, and Chevy.
Fantastic. Let's take a look now at our SUNOCO Hard Charge Award. It goes to the number 40 of Jeff Reeves, the rookie, and a lot of it came as a result of an immaculate start.
Beautiful start there, slides it to the left. Nice wide front straightaway here so you can take advantage of a good launch. And then we had the problems over on the right side with the 4 Fords getting involved.
And our Kia turning point of the race, you have to go with that turnaround in the lead.
That was an amazing job by Andrew Palmer there. He's poised in the right position. Lazaro had a little bobble, and he pounced and gets his first overall win.
Fantastic stuff. Now let's take a look at our Motool fast laps of the race in the GT category. Once again to Andrew Palmer. He swept him, as did Jack Baldwin in GTS. Good weekend for those guys. As we take a look at our Kia Rewind, the next stop for the GT with the GTA category and the GTS boys, another street circuit, Detroit.
The Motor City, a lot of pressure. Everyone talks about Long Beach being the jewel in the championship. Well, Detroit is not far behind. There's a lot of pressure there from the manufacturers. The drivers certainly want to succeed there on Belle Isle.
And I think for the Cadillac group, of course, they got some points they maybe didn't even expect here. They're going to be right back in play for the outright win at Detroit. They're looking forward to that one. So we look forward to it too. Thank you so much for joining us here for the series' first visit to Barber Motorsports Park. See you next time.